Shalina Tobin, aka Posh Nosh Gal, and today I'm joined by the fantastic chef Masaki Sugisaki. Sugisaki-san learned his craft from the tender age of 15 back in his hometown of Saitama in Japan. In 2005, he moved to London to be part of the original brigade at the famous Nobu restaurant in Mayfair, before setting up his own venture, the fabulous Dining's SW3 in Knightsbridge. Welcome, Sugisaki-san. Is it okay if I call you Masaki?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for inviting.
Well, it's a pleasure, and thank you for joining us. And how have you been? I know that the restaurant's reopened on the 4th of July. Have you been busy?
It's not as busy as before, like all the other restaurants. But yeah, gratefully, lots of regular guests came back to us, and then they all said that they miss our food. So that made me happy.
Of course. And then have you noticed an increase in bookings with the Eat Out to Help Out scheme?
Yes, actually, quite a lot at the beginning of the week. And well, that's amazing things to, the experience, especially in a difficult time. Since the opening, the number of the guests, because of the social distance involved, but we need to restrict a lot. So, the restaurant operation was not easy at all. So having this backup from the government is amazing things to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had also been doing deliveries and luxury bento boxes. Is that the kind of thing that you'll continue with?
For now, yes, but I started feeling that a lot of people after the lockdown kind of had enough experience through the delivery food. And I think the demand from the people is now move on to something else, which is like something like home party kit. Because of this weather, a lot of people wants to have a small party or cook at home, that kind of concept. So I'm now developing the new concepts which is suitable for the demand from the customer now. And
so does that mean that you'll be going to people's homes and cooking for them directly, or you'll just be preparing food for people to make themselves?
Both. We can always visit their home, as long as if they feel comfortable for us to do so. And then on top, at the end of the day, my food concept is simple enough, and then the honest food, which is the fresh ingredients to be cooked in a simple way. So it is possible for them to finalize the dish at home by themselves. And that is actually quite a fun, I guess, especially like simple sushi, such as like hand roll, that kind of things. If I prepare everything in advance, including the child or family, gather together and then make a mess and having the fun, I think that's going to create a nice atmosphere at home. So that's what I'm working on now.
Amazing. So it's very interactive, which is absolutely brilliant. And so
hopefully. Before
you opened, I know you were doing deliveries, but what about when we just kind of started the lockdown period? What was it that you were doing? Did you enjoy a little bit of time off, a bit of time to yourself, or did you find it very difficult?
At the beginning, first few weeks, it was really tough. Until then, I was always working every day and traveling all over. So my day was already planned like a month before, and then I didn't have any time to sit down and relax. And suddenly lockdown came up, and then everything stopped. And first couple of weeks, it was nightmare for me. I didn't know what to do, and I couldn't expect what's going to happen for following month. So I was really confused. But after a few weeks, I started to feeling in a way very positive that for the first time in the past, let's say 5-10 years, I could have this amount of time that I can stay at home and think about myself, think about what we do. And I came up with this idea that this might be an opportunity for me to just review what I'm doing and then bring it up to next level, hopefully. And so I thought about it a lot, and I questioned myself what I exactly want and where I want to go. Then the answer I came up with was that I wanted to work for people, including customer, and then all the suppliers, for example. British fishermen to start with, they are struggling because of this COVID situation, plus Brexit as well. And then a lot of sustainable fishermen are giving up their job, which is no amazing thing. So that I contacted a few of the suppliers, and then I organized a new kind of supplying route, let's say, which I could support all these food producers, and then they're serving the honest, simple, fresh food to the customer, which I'm really kind of grateful to take a path to move into this way. So now restaurant is filled with lots of fresh ingredients, locally produced. Then at the same time, I can feel confident that I'm serving the healthy, safe food, obviously with the quality, and then at the same time supporting the local communities, which gives me a lot of encouragement, let's say. So yeah, that's pushing me forward now, which is great, actually.
And so, Masaki, just wanted to take you back to your beginnings, actually. So we wanted to start with your history. And you were born into the restaurant business in Saitama in Japan, and your family ran a restaurant there where you trained from the age of 15.
Yep.
Was that a family expectation as the eldest son, or was it something that you wanted to do?
To be honest, I never wanted to be a chef at all.
Wow.
Well, they were basically born and raised in the restaurant family, especially in Japan, which is traditional, well, a lot of traditions. And then basically I didn't have any time to spend with my family. I was always left alone in the house with my sister. So I never enjoyed my childhood. Well, you know, when you talk about the family business on its own.
Right.
And when I enter the high school, minute after that, my parents forced me to work in their restaurant while all my friends are having fun after school, and I was the only one, you know, need to go back home and do whichever the commis chef job or like a front of house job, whatever, so on. And obviously the pay I got through this experience work was extremely little, because my father was keep on saying that this business is going to be yours. Yeah, so that this is an investment, so you cannot expect anything else. So that I used to hate it a lot. Sometimes, well, a lot of times, my parents wake me up. My father woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and well, without asking me, just take me to the markets, and then just take me around the markets, and then telling me how to choose the fresh ingredients, vegetable, fish, blah, blah, blah. And then also how to deal with the markets people, because you need to get to know them. And then once you build a good relationship, that's the only way you can get good source from those specialized people. So I was always there. And then after that, I needed to go to school or whatsoever. So I used to hate it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after that, just about the time when I graduated the high school, I was going to go up to university. But back in that time, one of my family businesses restaurant caught a fire, and then they lost everything. And it was a really difficult moment within the family. My father lost the motivations, and financially it was a really difficult situations. And we couldn't get any compensation from the insurance because of the complicated contract issue or whatsoever. So I needed to help them. So I decided to give up on my uni dream. And then I started working in my father's restaurant. And every single day it was tough, because I was living with them and working with them. And once you enter the kitchen or restaurant, basically they are my boss. So I needed to listen to them. But around that age, obviously, sometimes I cannot swallow everything, and a bit of argument happens. It was a really stressful moment. So I decided to quit, and then they start to working in another restaurant, and that was a game changer. It was a big, massive restaurant in a luxury golf club. It's got the 4 different restaurants in there, and I was working as a commis chef in these 4 different establishments, which including a Chinese food, Japanese food, Italian food, and the noodle bar. And that was a tough, but I've learned a lot of things. And then little by little, I start to understand what my parents wanted to taught me. Right. And I started feeling the value of it. And since then, I kind of start to get into this business. And then the next step, automatically, what came into my mind was that I want to see more, something different. Because my parents' restaurant is a traditional kaiseki restaurant, which is full of traditions. You need to know the rule. You need to know the customer's preference. And every year, pretty much, you need to repeat the same menu because customer is coming for those dishes. But that was too strict for me. So I was always looking for something new. Then I'm so into music as well. So, and then I was so kind of crazy about the British music. So I decided to come out from Japan and go to UK. And when I come over UK with the full of dream that, okay, this city, this country will give me a new world. Yes, it was a new world, but within the Japanese cuisine, it was quite difficult to see the new thing because at first time when I came to London and the States, for 5 years, it was 94.
And you were
back in that time,
3 years old, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you were
back in the yes, and then back in the time, because of the availability and the quality of the ingredients, there are so much limitation what we can do as a Japanese food chef. So I worked around, they worked quite a few restaurants within the central London area, but I couldn't find the right one. And after 5 years, my parents asked me to come back to their business and for me to take over. So I had a visa issue as well. So that after 5 years, I decided to go back. Then, just before I go back to Japan, one of my employer took me to this special dinner at the Nobu. It was recently the brand new opened Nobu first branch in Park Lane, and that actually slapped me. It was so wow. It was totally Japanese food, but in a totally different way, and then they have their own world to just swallow people's expectations whatsoever. And then I thought, oh my goodness, what the hell is this? But unfortunately, I needed to go back to Japan already. So I spent another 5 years in Japan, but I couldn't fit myself in.
Your family's business, you went
That's
to
right.
Your father. Okay, so you found that very difficult.
It was very difficult because from the age of 23 for 5 years, that's around the time you kind of finalize your identities as a person. And that has been built within the UK community. And I have changed a lot within this time, and I couldn't fit in. And Japanese kitchen has got so much traditions you need to follow. If your head chef said, this is black, even if it's white, I need to say it's black. And I couldn't do that. So luckily...
You were taught a lot of different aspects of the business, how to run the business as well from your family.
That's right.
And
right.
That started when you were just 18. So you already had a lot of knowledge about how to run a business and I guess about the traditions and the way your family worked as well.
Yes. That was, the kind of a huge advantage I think I had. Although back in that time, I didn't realize how to utilize those informations. Some of the information was quite difficult to understand for young people without any experience. And then they taught me a lot of things, but it wasn't actually connected to my knowledge and experience level. But as I kind of getting older and gaining more experiences, I start to feel like, oh my God, yes, it is true. And then it's actually makes sense. And, when I look around the kind of my colleagues working in other restaurants, for them, it's kind of, they don't have any idea what I'm talking about when we talk about this kind of topics. So I realized that, oh my God, this is a very valuable kind of knowledge assets I have. So since then, that is the time around, before I leave London for the first time, around millennium time, I started to realize that, okay, actually I'm interested in to be an owner of restaurant someday. So going back to Japan and taking over my family business was a kind of excitement thing. I was so excited to have this opportunity. So I did, but again, the food, the concept and the customers' demand was completely different from what I wanted to do, which is like a lot of things to do with the noble food. And I tried to introduce a new thing, but none of the regular customer were kind of appreciated for those new concepts to be introduced. So that was a struggling moment as well. And then luckily, after, 3 years since I took over my family business, one of my regular guests asked me that he's actually interested in to buy off the business in Japan. And back in the time, Sorry?
Interested in buying your family business.
Exactly. And around the time, my parents wanted to retire and then move to the countryside, and then they want to do the small restaurant by themselves, to grow the vegetable by themselves, and then prepare something, blah, blah, blah. So I just thought about, put everything, all the conditions on my table, and then I came up with the idea that, okay, why don't we close down? Because this is not what I want to do.
Okay.
And, if we sold the business, then I can, let my parents settle down, and then I can be free in a way again. And so I did.
And that you had a sister as well. Was she working in the business with you?
Yes, time to time, yes, she helped the business, but her main job were obviously back in the time she was not a professional, but she wanted to be an artist, the painter, which she is now. So that it was just helping out the family. And then,
so it was really in your hands, the business.
Exactly. My sister was always in my side because she was always free. Since we were kids. She did whatever she wants to do. She wants to go to the UK to live there, she just go there. And then my parents just support her and then doesn't say anything. And if she wants to move around, she does everything what she wants. And then she always felt sorry to me because I was always holding the house, and then she's the one always playing around. So she was always backing me up mentally. And then when I proposed this plan, she said that, okay, I think that's a good idea, fair enough. So why don't you do it? You have your own life now, so that, my parents to settle down in the countryside, which that's what they want. And I can be free. So win-win scenario. It was a big decision. Yeah, but we did that, and then after that I moved to Tokyo, and then I wanted to start to learn again from scratch to see something different, because obviously my extreme dream was to go back to London and work for Noble, but it was not quite possibly happened. It's quite a big decision to make. So I decided to go to Tokyo and worked as a head chef in the quite a big sushi restaurant in Tokyo area as an opening member. But again, it was not for me. And I was kind of stuck in one place. I don't know what to do. What can I do? What can I do? Then luckily I had the opportunity to take a part of the opening of Nobu Bakery Street. So minute after I get that call, yes, please. When can I go? That was the answer.
And when you came back to London, that was in 2005, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, and so how was, I mean, obviously you were very happy about that. You love being in London. How was it when working at Nobu?
That was the turning point of my chef career, I must say. Um, I always wanted to do something new. I was looking for the new inspirations whatsoever, but whatever Nobu restaurant does under the control of Mr. Nobu, obviously, but that was exceeding my imaginations. Everything I see, everything I experience, eat, whatever so on, was brand new. And then it was very, very carefully thought. Everything has got strong concept and very simple, honest food, but has got so much power to make people addicted to this his food. And then the atmosphere was amazing, and they look after the stuff really well. And the executive chef in the Nobu Berkeley Street, Mr. Hiyoshi, he actually gave me a lot of opportunity and freedom in a way. He told me that, okay, you don't need to be shy. You can do whatever you want. As long as if you think it's right for Nobu, do whatever you want. And that's his direction to lead me. And he showed me a lot of example and guide me. And obviously Mr. Nobu as well gave me a lot of inspirations. So I spent 3 years there, and it was amazing time. And then it's changed my mind and opened up my new eyes towards to this fusion style of Japanese food. Yeah. That's why we are doing it now, you know, at the dinings.
Yeah, so you struck up a partnership with Tomonari Chiba, who you met him at Nobu, right?
That's right. That's right. He was also like he was working for Nobu for a long, long time. He's a really interesting, very good chef, almost like artistic way. His main background is actually French cuisine in Japan. He worked for the really famous French cuisine and came over to London without any friends or whatsoever. And then suddenly he decided to work for Nobu. And obviously, when he started working in Nobu, obviously the management team in the kitchen recognizing his talent. And then since then, he was the opening member of a lots of new establishments all over the Europe, including the London project as well. And then he was there to look after the wood oven section in Nobu Berkeley Street. And I was working next to him in the sushi bar. And because we were same age and then, you know, this similar kind of experience level, so he approached me at the beginning of employment, like the first week or something. And he said that, why you are so quiet? Why you don't show what you can do? And don't be shy, da, 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 da. But I wanted to be a really kind of polite, you know, person within a team, because the Nobu players, including the Mr. Chiba, is like, you know, they're working like 5-10 years easily. So I need to pay respect in a Japanese way. But you know, obviously that was outside of Japan. So his point was that, okay, do whatever you want, just like, you know, executive chef Hiyoshi said. So I followed. Then obviously, naturally, we start to be a very good friend. And he came up with this idea of dinings. I want to set up the restaurant. And the concept is that to make everybody happy. It's like a Wonderland type of, obviously, concept. And then nothing in detail. He has got no experience to open up the businesses whatsoever, but I had. And then these two different characters and then the experience is somehow matched together in there. So at the beginning, I was thinking, like, working in Nobu is like, for me, it was heaven. I could experience a lot of things, but taking a part in the dinings project is actually, it was quite a big decision for me. But at the end, he, Mr. Chiba, light up my different side of my, you know, the kind of passion again to be a restaurant owner. So I said yes, but because I wanted to pay this maximum respect to the Mr. Nobu and the Mr. Hiyoshi, because they employ me and then, you know, they look after my visa whatsoever. So I told them that, okay, please wait 1 year. I'm gonna finish my employment at the Nobu 12 months later, but I will complete whichever the remaining duties I need to finish. And then during those 12 months time, I'm going to sacrifice my day off. And then, I'm going to help out the dining openings and then settling on the dining side, which I did. So after 12 months, I quit the Nobu.
That's a long way to do this. It's amazing.
Yeah, because I really feel appreciated, for the offer they gave me, opportunity they gave me from Nobu, and I wanted to pay maximum respect to us to that. And then also at the beginning of the dining project, obviously having a lot of stuff for the new project without much financial background, it's a big risk for dining side as well.
Yeah. But
I can always offer myself, so it made sense for me. And so I complete 12 months notice period, and then I start to moving on to the dining project. And funny thing is, this Mr. Chiba, as soon as I joined, probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, suddenly he came up to me in a restaurant. And Masaki, what do you think? I don't think that we need 2 brains in this restaurant, in this small restaurant. So, you know what? I'm going to disappear. I'm going to look for another business opportunity. So this restaurant is all yours. That was back in 2008. And then he suddenly started traveling around the world to look for another business opportunity in Greece, in Japan. And basically I took over dinings. That was a big challenge as well.
Yeah, but that was kind of like, a surprise dream. You didn't even realize that, when you came from Japan, you just wanted to work. You didn't even realize that you'd be running your own restaurant. But when you originally came from Japan, did you think it was going to be permanent, or did you just think, I'll come for a short time and then go back?
It's funny enough, but I always wanted to stay here permanently if it's possible. Even now, I'm not planning anything, about going back, leaving this country. I love this city, this country, and it's everything. Like, I've been here in total 20 years now, and it's just my home now. Although I'm still holding a Japanese passport, but yes, this is my home. And time to time, I love to go back to Japan, and then, the experience in this comfortable cultures. I love it, but probably 2 weeks maximum. After that, I miss this country.
Right. So this is absolutely your home. Home is where the heart is, right? Yeah,
exactly.
So so Dining's SW3, that opened in 2017. There's such a beautiful terraced area to the restaurant, which this time of year, it's absolutely lovely to have.
Yeah.
Such a gorgeous space. So how did you find that space?
It's a funny scenario. We have another branch in Tel Aviv, Israel. And this Tel Aviv branch is a kind of franchise contract, and this it's in a hotel, boutique hotel. It's a beautiful boutique hotel called Norman Hotel, and this hotel owner is called Jonathan, and he's an amazing guy. Reason why, first of all, he wanted us to be there in his hotel was because just the concept of it. He just loved our concepts as a dinings, qualities, and everything. And he found us as just boutique restaurant. And then he obviously based in London, so that he loved us. And then he just wanted our brand to be in his own boutique hotel project to finalize the restaurant and hotel establishment. And so we start to working together, and then we actually got on well, extremely well. He understands what I want as a chef and then a restaurant owner, and he always paid maximum respect to us to it. So, and then, after a few years of opening, we started discussing that if we could have something together in London, that would be great. And then we were looking for the premises all the time, but I couldn't find it. We couldn't find it. And then one day, when I finished my shift and I was on the way back home, Jonathan called me around 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. And then said that, Masaki, come to this address and I want to sit down and talk to you. So, okay, what is it? He said, just come. So I went there, and that was the site. Back in the time, that was a Toto restaurant. And I sat down on the table, and then Jonathan said, what do you think about this premises? Don't you think it's beautiful? It is actually extremely beautiful. So I said, it's amazing. And then he goes like, do you, can you imagine if the dining system here? I said, oh my God, that's going to be amazing. It's going to be a dream. And then next thing he said, okay, wait for it. And then in front of me, he picked up the phone, a mobile phone, and then called this restaurant owner. And then basically, he spent 10 minutes to talk. And then he arranged an appointment on that night, 10 o'clock in the Mayfair. And then he disappeared, 10 minutes later. And then a few hours later, he called me. Okay, we got it.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it was like this.
Wow.
Obviously, he's a professional businessman, so he's got a lot of connection. I guess he knew the restaurant owner, blah, 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 blah. And the timing was right, I think. But anyway, I was like, oh my God. So from that moment, suddenly, like my whole day was changed. Just started working on a new concept and new restaurant preparations, blah, 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 blah. And that's how it happened. So that was not planned. Well planned.
Well, the best things are never planned. Sometimes they're just,
That's right. That's right.
You're specializing in azakaya, which is casual dining, where you're blending authentic Japanese and European cuisine. So talk to me about why you've included European cuisine as part of the menu.
Okay, well, I believe as a chef who's been trained in the traditional style of Japanese cuisine, which has got so much history, and then actually to maximize the experience as a customer within this type of restaurant, you need to know a lot of things. And the food, each dish is a course menu, and then normally like 12 courses or 15 courses menu, and each course has got a message, lots of message from the chef, from the restaurant, and the customer will. That's a part of the enjoyment, kind of for the customer to expect. Oh, this chef is using these ingredients because now, for example, springtime has finished, and then the summertime, beginning of the summertime. So this is a season for these ingredients. But because we are in between, we are also using the end of spring ingredients together on the dish, that kind of things. Right. That is all about the silent conversations and the kind of education, kind of, the conversation, the educational conversation. I don't know how you call it, but it doesn't exist in this country. It's just, whether if this food is beautiful, tasty, obviously. However, there are lots of more things. And to be honest, I cannot see the point to force customer to have this silent communication included concept. This is a different country, and then season, yes, we have a 4 season, but it's completely different from Japan. And then food production, well, for the produce is completely different. We work with fresh seasonal ingredients in Japan and here as well, but we have a totally different background. So how can we force customer to have those kind of things? And lots of time I've seen when I was started working in Japanese restaurant, customer seeing the menu and or pointing out the menu like this to order because they don't know the word. For example, tuna, we call it maguro. And if it's said maguro tataki, nobody understands what is the main ingredients and then food, or how we cooked. So customers are ordering like Russian roulette. You don't know what you're going to get. Right. And then when it's come, either wow or what is this?
Yeah.
This is not right. Which is not right. One of the key concepts of izakaya cuisine is that it's a casual place, but everybody is looking for fun. with a drink and a lots of food together and a lots of love. That is the concept of it. But that was lacking from Japanese restaurant concept. So in order to take all these negative elements out from the restaurant concept, what we can do. So I decided to translate the dishes into a familiar format for our customer clients, which is obviously a European cuisine. And then the European cuisine, there's a reason why, for example, Mediterranean cuisine is cooked, whichever the ingredients into a specific way, there's a reason to it. And then they are the specialists knows about their ingredients, right? And then I'm new in this country, in this area of the world. So why don't we learn from them, from the specialists? However, we will translate it. Whatever we do, let's say 60% of the concept is being built by the traditional or genuine Japanese concept or mentality or philosophy within the cooking. And then rest of the 40% is going to be translated and then make dishes to be more familiar to the customer. So customer will obviously take control of what they are having, what they want to have, and then what they expect to have. I think that is the best things for us to do as a Japanese chef or Japanese restaurant as a restaurant. That is the best way to go for. That's what I believe still now, and then I will keep on doing this until I feel one day maybe I feel enough.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's the right things to do.
And did you have any training in European cuisine, or was it self-taught?
Majority of the knowledge and skills I have within this foreign cuisine is self-taught. But when I came out from my first came out from my parents' business, I learned a bit of Italian and I worked in the French kitchen as well. Okay. So very basics were there already as a kind of skill. Right. And I studied a lot and I eat out a lot. I travel a lot. And then I learned a lot of different kind of things. And luckily, the working in this city as a restaurant owner, I have a lot of opportunity to work with foreign chefs who's got tons of experience in the European kitchens, Italian, Spanish, or British. And then they are actually good. So I'm always creating the new concept of dishes with them. Yeah. And so I can provide the Japanese tradition in a translated way so they can understand correctly. And then they give me their kind of a standard. And then we will put everything in a pot, shake them, and then mold them into the right shape, and then present it to a customer.
Amazing. That's really lovely. And do you have omakase evenings as well?
Yeah, well, at the moment, obviously, because of these situations, we can't. But we used to do this omakase event regularly, which I will definitely bring it back. The concept of omakase is that I just want to be a chef. I want to cook whatever I want. And this is the kind of, what do you say? Obviously, I'm always trying to create new thing in order to push ourselves to a next level with the available ingredients and then towards to the regular customers. Because I know the preferences, that I know what to create. I have already guidelines, but this omakase concept is completely different. It's just, okay, what I want to cook and what is available, what is the best in season, and then based on that, I will create whatever I want. And then I will form sometimes like 12 or 15 courses menu with the modern techniques, traditional dishes and traditional techniques everything included, mixed up, and then presented to a customer one by one. Everything is cooked in front of them. And then that is actually pretty important for me. That once I finish that event all the time, every single time when I finish it, it leaves me the kind of where I am and what is actually my most interest? Where is it? Like, what is it? That kind of things is showing me myself. to myself. So I can see, okay, I'm here now. This is what I want. And this is customer wants. This is my team wants. So, okay, so next step, I can take it this way or this way or this way. So it actually works for me as well. And hopefully for customer, which they enjoy it, seems like.
Well, I've been to the restaurant. I absolutely love it. And so
Thank you.
You also have a very strong commitment to sustainability. Talk to me about how is that important to you?
Well, this COVID was a really good opportunity, actually, especially during the lockdown. I always had this kind of mind towards to sustainability and, well, traceability of the ingredients included. I always wanted to move to that directions, but if you were chased with tons of jobs, it's quite difficult to change the source of the food chains and things so on. But after I came up from dark time, first couple of weeks of lockdown, decided to take this as an opportunity. So I reset everything and reconsider everything. What can I do? Because as a restaurant, we are dealing with tons of food ingredients and packagings included. We produce a lot of wastage as well. So that everything one by one, I could review. And now, because of the COVID, for myself as well, my awareness towards to this environment and then the personal health as well is increasing like crazy. So I decided to take drastic action towards to this sustainability, eco-friendly, and the traceabilities, and serving the safe food towards to the customer. And that is a very important part of what we do now.
Right, and you also have a very strong relationship with the fishermen, which you mentioned earlier on. They're called pesky fish.
That's correct. Pesky fish. His name is Ben. He's in a good way crazy guy. He's crazy about the fish. And the thing is that when he was young, he was a kid, he was living in Tokyo because of the parents' business or whatsoever. So he's got a strong kind of mindset towards to Japanese culture. And he loves fish as a, person. He's crazy about the fish. And the reason why he opened this company is that in UK, there are beautiful species sustainably caught by UK fishermen, but it never distributed to UK market. Just like 1% or 2% of those beautiful fish and seafood has been distributed to the Bringskate market, for example. So we have no access. That's because first of all, this big, massive ship coming from Portugal or other EU countries and came into a UK water, and they catch a lot more fish than the UK sustainable fishermen, and then take it back to their markets. And that is setting the price of the fish and seafood, which is extremely low. And because of this set price, the UK local fishermen who sustainably caught the fish, like line caught or whatever so on, cannot sell it unless if they lower the prices. And then otherwise they cannot, they don't have a place to sell. And a lot of fishermen are actually giving up on their occupations. And each year, basically the number of the sustainable fishermen is decreasing. And local fishermen's community is getting smaller and smaller. And so this Ben stepping. Okay, so what is your issue? Then obviously issue is that the transportation, and then existence of middleman who actually connect the restaurant and fishermen together. Right. So he decided to raise his hand. Okay, I'm going to be the one, so let me know. Just send me a WhatsApp message what you catch today. Then I will send a message to restaurant and then ask chef to buy it if they are interested in. And then the I'm going to ask chef to pay more than the market value. Because as long as if you guarantee the quality of the ingredients, chef will buy it. And that was his concept.
Amazing.
So I said, oh, yeah. So I said, I mean, let me help you. So since then, literally every single day, we are on a WhatsApp or phone, and then, okay, what's your catch today? And then what is the fish you can catch a lot, but that you cannot sell? And then I'm trying to purchase as much as I can. And then I try to use these fresh, amazing, underrated ingredients, not only the famous ingredients, but the underrated ingredients to support local fishermen. And then also it's a sustainable fish or seafood. So it's sustainable. And then, the sustainable food ingredients are the ingredients customer wants. A lot of customers care about the sustainability now as well. So I'm just taking a part of this whole movement and then try to help and then educate customer. Okay, this underrated fish, mackerel, for example, can be amazing by doing this, by doing this, by doing this. So what we were doing with pesky fish now, we are helping the cook at home concept in a way. They actually prepare the box of fish, and then I create a dish out of it, simple dish out of it, which everybody can cook at home, and including the sauce and that kind of things in a box. So that basically everything comes in a box, fresh as possible. And then there's an instruction card, and then all they need to do is just to follow the instruction, cook themselves, and your dinner is going to be amazing dinner at your house.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I want to try that. It is absolutely amazing, and I definitely want to try it. And speaking of unusual fish, have you ever trained to prepare fugu?
Strictly saying, I shouldn't say yes, but yes.
Yeah, you did.
I think it's a license you need to
11 years of training.
Yeah, it's I was under the training, and then I filleted it, and then I served the fish under my master's, like obviously the training, and luckily I haven't killed anybody yet.
So, Masaki, we're coming to the end of our interview now, but I have one more question for you. Tell me something about yourself that I couldn't possibly know.
Well, I must say I'm a pretty simple person. I'm working every day in the kitchen. I'm always thinking about the food. That's pretty much. So what it could be. Yeah, well, maybe I'm quite the perfectionist for what I do, especially when it comes to cooking, so something like that. And I'm quite passionate about training young chefs as well. So once I enter kitchen, and if someone's doing the wrong job, I'm gonna be the most scary person ever in the world. Probably you cannot imagine from my smile.
I can't imagine, no.
That's what it is. That's why our kitchen door needs to be strictly shut all the time. Otherwise, everybody in the restaurant will hear my scream.
Oh, wow. Well, hopefully I'll never have to hear that. Actually, you mentioned earlier on that when you were at university, you had another passion of music.
Yeah.
What were you playing an instrument, or were you singing, or part of a band?
I actually played quite a few different kinds of instruments, especially the electric bass and a bit of that and a bit of that. And then first when I came over to London when I was 23, I was actually playing the music as well, and then hoping that there's going to be my future path to be a musician as well. So I was working on the cooking and the music as well. And believe me or not, I was actually releasing, I got this contract from this small level in Notting Hill, and then I released a couple of CDs, but unfortunately, or fortunately, if I, at this point now, if I look back, it didn't sell much. So yeah, I needed to give up.
But Well, I'm sure you still sing. You still probably enjoy music, right?
Time to time, I play with some pieces of the instruments. But I know once I go into it, I'm gonna start to like get crazy about it again. So that I'm trying to behave myself.
So you're an extremist. So when you do something, you
Yes.
do full passion, and you can't think of anything else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is a part of the Japanese blood. I think part of the Japanese culture.
Part of anyone who's just passionate about about something that you love and enjoy doing.
True, very true. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much.
Guys, if you would like to follow Masaki, he's on Instagram at Masaki Sugisaki, and I'm at Poshnoshgal. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you very much.